The Lost Kings, Part 3. Valan shook his head. I don't know how to wield one. I'd be more a danger than a help. At least you know that, Brel acknowledged. Are those blades are those the blades you're used to? Valan nodded. These are what I fight best with. The dragon gave him a single nod. When this is over, that will change, he stated. You will need something more powerful if you are to assist me in retrieving your father. Valan only half heard him. His hands dropped to his dagger hilts, making sure the weapons were firmly settled in their sheaths. No armor? The dragon asked. Valan looked at him. Do I look like I have the coin for such things? He challenged. The dragon grimaced. It almost looked like a smile, but was gone too quickly for Valan to work out what it meant. This way, then, the dragon instructed, turning on his heel and heading for the back of the room. Behind them, the footsteps reached the door and the handle rattled. The dragon stopped. Keep going, he ordered, stepping around Valan and thrusting him toward the wall. Pull the tassel. He didn't stop to make sure Valan knew what he meant, but lifted the table and wedged it against the door. Go, he growled, and Valan forced himself to keep going. There was no tassel on the back wall, but he could imagine why the dragon had said it. If they were pursued, the person outside wouldn't be able to give away the way into. Into the what? Valan pondered. The secret passage? Looking the wall up and down, he figured that had to be it, and if the dragon hadn't meant tassel, he'd known Valan would figure it out. Tassels are up, he decided, and crouched, running his fingers along the base of the cabinet standing in front of the wall. A soft click followed, and he pushed. Behind him, the dragon used the chair to brace the table as the door shook under a flurry of heavy blows. That didn't take them long, he observed, once the chair was in place. Valan didn't want to be told what to do next. He pushed the cabinet aside and slipped into the dark opening beyond. The dragon followed, hauling the cabinet back into place, then deftly reaching under it. A snapping sound followed, and Valan's eyes widened. What if someone else needs an escape? Those who know it no longer functions, the dragon answered. And now those who do not know of it cannot open it, even if they manage to find the catch. They'll break the wall down, Valan told him, continuing down the corridor. Then they'll be too busy to try looking in any of the right places, the dragon retorted, and that includes where your sister has gone. Valan nearly stopped, fought the urge, and broke into a run. We have to save her. You won't climb fast enough to stop her, Brel told him, picking up his pace to come alongside Valan. I know. It was half sob, but Valan kept running. I have to try. I can get you there in time. What? Valan's pace faltered. In time to see her fall. Brel placed a hand on his shoulder, slowly drawing him to a walk. Maybe in time to catch her, the dragon said softly. Valan's pace faltered, the weight on his shoulder enough to hold him. Catch her? The dragon drew him down a side corridor that opened to their left. Follow, he instructed. You don't know these halls. Halls? Valan wouldn't have called them that, but the dragon looked more at home here. Maybe they are halls to him. Be careful, boy. A man can get sensitive about his home. Valan didn't know what to say to that, so he changed the subject. Are you sure we'll catch her? You, the dragon told him. You are going to catch her. I'll be too busy keeping us aloft. What do you mean? Valan asked, lengthening his stride as the dragon increased his pace. You don't think they'll let us take their prize so easily, do you? The dragon challenged. How will they stop us? The White Mountains hunt dragons in the peaks and the depths of their range, Brel told him. They have weapons specifically designed to bring us down. Will they have brought them? Valan challenged. There have been no rumours of a dragon here. That you have heard, Brel corrected. And a White Mountains warrior is never without his weapons. A dragon killer can be used to kill other creatures as well. They reached the end of the tunnel, mounting a set of stairs and following them up through a space barely wide enough to take them. Valan canted his body slightly sideways, while the dragon turned completely side on. Accursed elves, Brel grumbled. Elves? Who do you think built these tunnels? The dragon asked. I thought humans founded the city. This city, yes, Brel replied, but it was not the first city to stand here. The wars fought over this ground have vanished into elvish history, and humans are a much younger race. Meaning we never knew the stories to start with, Valan concluded. They continued upward, breathing a little easier when they reached a narrow door and stepped out into an abandoned tower section. Where are we? Valan asked. In one of the spires, Brel replied. The spires? But aren't they off limits to humans under your new accord? Yes, Brel answered. The accord I hold with their custodians is much older. Older, of course, Valan said, wondering exactly how old the dragon might be. Later, if there is a later, Valan retorted silently. There is always a later, the dragon informed him, laughter in its tones. They pressed on, passing narrow arched windows, but moving more freely now they were out of the passage itself. The dragon jogged ahead, glancing through each arch as he passed. Valen looked too, his heart shrinking at the sight of the army camped outside the city walls. Why don't they come in? He asked, his voice a little hoarse. We have nothing that could stop them. The city has promised to turn over those they seek, the dragon replied. They wouldn't. Valen shot back, but nausea roiled through his chest and acid boiled at the base of his throat. He let his protest fade. Even he knew how politics worked. The dragon put it into words. Two for the safety of thousands, he asked, and he didn't sound happy. He also sounded short of breath. Valen sympathized. His lungs were starting to burn, and his legs ached. He looked up at the stairs ahead. Nearly there, the dragon assured him. They rounded another stretch of wall and came to a small landing. Brel stopped Valen by placing a palm on his chest. Let me go through first. There's not a lot of room on the overlook. The overlook? Valen huffed. Where? How? The where is the shelf at the top of the tower. You've seen it from the city walls. Valen didn't need to ask how the dragon knew. He was just a little disturbed at how long he'd been under observation and hadn't known it. As to the how, you were with me when we did it, the dragon told him. Now wait, I will call you when it is time to mount. You want me to what? Valen asked. The dragon chuckled. Don't take the privilege for granted, he admonished, pulling open a door on the landing's edge. Wind ripped through the opening, and Valen gritted his teeth. Ice gave the wind a sting that suggested winter was on its way. It's still summer, he thought fiercely as his teeth started to chatter. Why us? He asked, trying to take his mind off the fact he was about to. Brel's human form gleamed a brilliant white gold and swirled into something much larger. Valen blinked against the glare. He took an involuntary step back from the door, only to be caught by the leathery tip of a very large wing. He froze, then let it draw him out onto the overlook. Use my foreleg as a step and sit between the spines between my shoulder blades. Use the spine in front as a handhold and forgive the intrusion. But this is the only way we will be able to speak once we are aloft. Aloft? Valen squeaked, but he was already moving toward Brel's foreleg, eyeing the distance from the elbow to the dragon's shoulders. We must hurry. The dragon rumbled to emphasize his words, and Valen hurried to obey. Once he was settled between the spines on the dragon's shoulders, he spoke. I'm ready. Make sure you have a good grip, the dragon instructed. Launch is always tricky, and the crosswinds here lend themselves to acrobatics. Acrobatics? Valen demanded. I've got no harness. Then I'll try to keep my response to the turbulence to a minimum, but you should ensure your grip is solid. Valen thought briefly of plunging a dagger into the dragon's hide and using it like a climber used a python on the rocks. Please do not, Brel instructed. The pain would disrupt my concentration. Valen felt a brief sense of relief that such a move would not kill the dragon. Not that it mattered. I won't, he promised, making a silent vow to keep his weapons sheathed while on Brel's back. If the dragon picked that thought from his mind, he didn't show it. Ready? He asked, and Valen felt his muscles tense. Ready, he replied, and the dragon sprang from the overlook. You know to where your sister has climbed, he stated, and Valen swallowed hard. I know, he confirmed. She will not let them take her. She will jump, the dragon agreed, and we will catch her. Why do they want us? Valen asked. It cannot be only because we're half breeds. Usually, they will only kill half breeds when they are foolish enough to trespass into White Mountain lands. They do not hunt them beyond their borders. So why us? Valen asked, hurt squeezing his heart. And why now? That is the real question, the dragon asked. The closest I can surmise is that they fell out of favor with their gods, and their princess must now undertake some form of purification in order for them to return to it. Their princess? Valen asked. But I thought she met our fathers. She did, the dragon told him. Elves live a long time, and it has come time for her to rule. And their deities have cursed them because of what? Youthful misdeeds? Valen snorted in disbelief. In the princess's case, it was youthful rebellion and a desire for change. She saw half breeds as people, something her own people and their deities forbid. Valan surveyed the campfires below and the gleaming orbs of light moving with patrols along the streets below. This is a race war? No, it is a war brought by one people's need to find the rejects hidden among another people by a princess who tried to find another path. But the gods, their gods are powerful, but could be swayed to her side if the right sacrifices could be made. Us? Not if they are to change their minds. What you are seeing now is the result of the faction who wants no change, rising to power. To them, the princess's life is forfeit, and another will take the throne. So, why the ritual of purification? An example to the tribe of what becomes of those who try to sway the gods to change. Valen had nothing to say to that. Instead, he slitted his eyes against the wind and tightened his grip on the spine in front of him before leaning forward and slightly out in an attempt to see his sister.